Good evening, Jets Nation. Welcome to the Jets Duo Show. I'm your host, Drew Jets, joined by my lovely co-host today, because we got the one, the only, Johnny Cruz in the building for today's stream. So how's it going, Johnny?
What's going on, man? I appreciate that intro there, Jules. Seriously. Appreciate the love. I'm happy to be here, man.
And then what about you, Italy Jet?
Oh, I mean, right when Johnny left, I'm like, I can't.
he just set you up for that one there, man.
He did a little snot. Listen, I'm doing okay. It's been a long week, a lot of roller coasters, a lot of emotions. I had Johnny on my podcast last night. Everything on my J was really fun. A lot of great views, and great fans saying how much they like Johnny. Even when he's a Dolphins fan, it's still love. Doing okay. I'm ready. I'm ready to be done with this game. I'm ready for the off season, but just when things happen, they gotta suck me back in. So now I gotta care again. So we'll see what happens. What about you, Johnny? How are you?
I'm good, man. Like I said, I'm a little blown by the breaking news that you guys were letting me know about what the NFL is thinking about possibly doing. So it turned a game that I was, I'm gonna watch it because it's my team and whatever. But now
Right.
It's like, well, man, I mean, now they have a legit. I mean, obviously they got to win the game regardless, but it's gonna be interesting to see what happens, to see how the playoffs play out, and who gets what seed and what happens. I mean, first of all, obviously, the important thing is the health of the young man Hamlin. So I'm glad to hear. I've heard that he's doing a lot better. So I'm glad to hear that. So we'll see what happens though, man.
And that's a perfect transition to our next topic. And before we get into the next topic as well, pray for tomorrow, everything that's been going on, just
Yep.
absolutely crushing on Monday night, everything that happened, and it's just so heartbreaking to see. So first off, it's great that Damar Hamlin, he's doing well and everything right now. Just to hear all the news is so great to it's just great to hear. And then to see everyone donating to his charities and whatnot, and all the love he's been getting. It's just awesome. And, we both hate the Buffalo Bills. You're a Dolphins fan. Me and Italy Jet are Jets fans. But, to come together and to support a Bills player, while we might not like to do it, I mean, in situations like this, it's more than a game, and it's somebody's life. So
Right.
it's just great to go out and support, and glad the whole NFL supporting him as well. And of course, because of everything that went down Monday night, the NFL is not going to be resuming the Buffalo Bills and Cincinnati Bengals game. It's not going to be played. It's not going to be counted against the record. Some people saying maybe they just end the game with Buffalo losing to Cincinnati 7-3. None of that's going to happen. Buffalo and Cincinnati would finish their records like it's back in 2015. So because of everything that's going down, the NFL is potentially talking about adding an eighth seed and what they could do, because the race for the AFC 1 seed is most likely going to fall into the hands of the Kansas City Chiefs, simply because the Cincinnati Bengals and Buffalo Bills have played one less game than Kansas City.
Right.
So the NFL is saying, well, since it's not really a fair shot for the 1 seed, what are we going to do about the playoffs? And now, Adam Schefter this morning on First Take, not Get Up, he said that of course, there's two potential scenarios that could happen for, the 1 seed. Either the 1 seed chooses between home field or bye, and the 2 seeds get to the other, or Kansas City versus Buffalo, Buffalo versus Cincinnati, or Cincinnati versus Kansas City would play in the AFC Conference Championship game. Then the game would be played at a neutral side like it would be your ordinary bowl game. Of course, that doesn't apply to both of our two teams. Hopefully, they don't do that, because we could potentially see the Dolphins or the New York Jets get into the playoffs. So what are you guys' whole thoughts about the AFC potentially adding an AFC? We'll start off with you, Johnny Cruz.
It's I mean that's a lot. That's a lot going on right there. Um, you hope that the NFL is trying to do it because they think it's the best interest of the teams and the league, and it's not just oh man, we can get some more money adding an eighth seed, because you know how it goes with the NFL. It's all about the Benjamins with them. So you hope it's not that type of an issue. The crazy part is that Kansas City actually lost to both of those teams, so Kansas City winds up with a bit of a break here. The whole neutral site thing is actually an interesting concept. That's actually kind of cool sounding there, but I mean it definitely makes it a lot more interesting of a game between our two teams this coming Sunday. You guys now have some more life to possibly get a spot. So I mean, it's it's going to make the game that much more interesting. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Like I said, you guys blew my mind when you told me about that earlier, because I hadn't seen anything on the news about it. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
And then, how are you feeling, LJ?
Well, as a Patriots fan, oh wait, no, I'm sorry, no. As a Jets fan, I mean, just like Johnny said, I mean, it's just adding money. They're adding money, adding more teams. Everything that's been happening the last couple of days, it's like when people are out of it and then they suck you back in. This whole season has just been that. I mean, once we're out, then we're back in. We're out, back in, out, back. It just, we don't know anymore. So now it's like, now Sunday all of a sudden counts again, right? For both teams. Right. So it's going to be very interesting. Whoever the Jets start, I have no confidence in. So but then again, the same with Johnny even said, right. Your QB in your offensive line is the same way like our QB and offensive line. So it's going to be pretty even. So we'll see.
Yeah, and the whole thing about the eighth seed, you would think the NFL would do it simply because the NFL is such a money-hungry league. I mean, the whole reason they added, 17 games and the 7th seed in the playoffs is because they want to make some money. And, I mean, look, players might not like having the 8th seed, but, like, as Jets fans who are already eliminated from the playoffs should get the 8th seed back, the New York Jets are no longer eliminated from the playoffs and have a clear shot at it. As long as Jacksonville can get a dub over Tennessee and the Pittsburgh Steelers lose to the Cleveland Browns, your New York Jets would be in the playoffs. And, of course, if we were to get the win over the Miami Dolphins, which, based on the way everything's looking right now for this New York Jets team, I don't really believe in us getting that dub because, of course, it's rough right now. I mean, for both teams, though, because I feel like the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins, like similar situations, both have lost 5 straight games. Both have just a giant question mark at quarterback right now. Y'all because of injury and us because we don't have a quarterback on the team. But it's just this game. I mean, right now, if you're a Jets fan, it's completely pointless. I was dreaded making my preview video simply because there's nothing really to talk about. This season's already over. We don't have anyone at quarterback, but now if they're potentially being an 8th seed, the New York Jets actually have something to play for in this game, and it actually might be meaningful. It's just very crazy. But do you think the New York, because of course the Miami Dolphins can get into the playoffs still, despite losing, the 5 straight. If y'all win against the Jets this week and the Patriots lose to Buffalo, that can very well happen. So do you think the New York Jets spoil Miami's playoff hopes?
It's crazy, man. I mean, we were talking about it last night, how much these two teams mirror each other. Like you mentioned, both teams coming off of 5-game losing streaks. Both teams, 1-5 since their bye weeks. It's just crazy, the similarity in both teams. It's crazy to think that there's a scenario after last week that that you guys would have an opportunity to get in the playoffs. I'm with Italy, where I have no confidence in my team. I'm never gonna lose hope or lose faith in my team. Obviously I want them to win, but I don't even know who the quarterback is, and it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. I wouldn't have much confidence in them anyway. I kind of want to see Skylar play just to see what we have there with that young man, because there's no point in Teddy even bothering to try. I mean, I know he's trying to, he's having a hard time gripping the ball, but he's trying to play. I think they're just, that's just coach speak there and trying to play mind games with Robert Saleh, because I don't think Teddy's going to play. So So I wouldn't mind seeing Skyler. The fact that they had to sign Mike Glennon is that's just a scary thought, man. It might be a Joe Flacco versus Mike Glennon, for a playoff spot. I mean, talk about a flashback to 2015 with these two guys. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy that it's there. I don't know. I'm worried about your defense. You know what I'm saying? Like I told Gino yesterday, that your defense is legit. It's real. That cornerback duo is, in my opinion, probably the top one in the league at this point right now, at least the way they've been playing. You've got one of the best defensive tackles in the league. So, I mean, your defense alone could win this game by themselves. So I gotta hope that the offense can make some kind of plays. I gotta hope it's some type of quick passing game or something. Get the ball into Tyreek and Waddle's hands as quickly as possible. Let them try to make something happen. But then when you flip it on the other side, as much as you guys have been struggling on offense, like I have no confidence in our defense making a big stop. Our secondary, like we're down to our 7th, 8th, and 9th corners. So I don't even know who's playing back there. We got special teams guys that are starting for us at corner. So I mean, it has the potential to be a very ugly game. But this is a hard one here. But I mean, it's Jets Dolphins, so there's always that. It's a divisional game, so it's always fun to watch these games. But this whole AFC, I'm wondering if we win, do we get in even if the Patriots win? Because if there's 8 seeds now, like I'm gonna have to check it out now and like dig deep to do some research to find out exactly what we need. Because if we win the game and the Patriots win, I mean, I guess if we got the tiebreaker over the Steelers, so it wouldn't matter. Like I don't know, man. Like it's all madness and chaos, which. Sometimes that's fun, but like I was starting to feel a little bit like Italy, to where I was good with with this being the last game, not for nothing. I mean, you always want your team to make the playoffs, but it was like, whatever, man. Let's just get to the off season and get focused on some baseball and see what our team does as far as front office and who gets fired and who gets brought back and stuff. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But I have no confidence in our team winning, but I'm hopeful.
It's like one of those things where you have a good meal, right? You go in, okay, you're done. You're done with that meal. Then you go and get This is how it is. We're going to get seconds now, and then there's thirds, and there's fourths, and there's dessert, and then there's wine, then there's another dessert. It's going back and forth, and it's playing with everybody's emotions. It's one. My friend Leon, my podcaster, and me have said this. It's like we want the playoff drought to end for the Jets, but do we really want the playoff drought to end for the Jets like this? Like this? It just doesn't feel right. But I understand with some fans, like there's like, no, I just want to end it. Like I just want to get in. Just get in. I get that too.
Right.
But
I feel what you're saying, but at the same time, if
you're not putting out a good product, you know what I mean?
Right.
You're not putting out a good product. What's you know what I mean? What's the point?
I hear what you're saying, and it's not like either one of these teams is going to make a Super Bowl run,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I mean, so I understand what you're trying to say, but at the same time, what I'm saying, you gotta be in the dance in order to win the dance. So. Considering the fact that, I mean, we haven't gotten into the playoffs since 2016. We haven't won a playoff game since 2001. So any type of playoff is, I'm saying, I'll take it, especially the way the team started this year. But like, again, I have no confidence in it. And I'm kind of like, I can go either way. You know what I'm saying? If we win, cool, I'll watch it. Hopefully we don't get destroyed in the first round of the playoffs. But saying as long as they play well this game and everybody comes out healthy, that's my main concern right there. Is we don't need any more injuries that may linger into next season. Like that's the one thing I'm starting to think about now. That's why I'm glad they didn't try to press Tua to play. He needs to just shut it down and get ready for next season. So hopefully, like I said, nobody gets injured to where, like I said, it affects next season. So
exactly, it's same thing with us with AVT. AVT, and Brees Hall, because that could potentially be a late end next year injuries. So that's what I'm worried about that too as well. What do you think, Jude?
Well, you mentioned how like you want the playoff drought to end, but like you don't want it to end this way. And you look at me. I'm not as old as you guys. I haven't seen the New York Jets make it to the playoffs, and in
What?
fact,
What do you mean you ain't as old as us?
but as a Jets fan, I've just never watched a playoff game. Closest I got to it was my first year as a fan back in 2015, where we go 10-6. We're statistically the best team to never make the playoffs, and we came that close, and I've never been that close to making the playoffs again until this season. Obviously, I want to see us make it into the playoffs. But if we make it to the playoffs, you also know that there's no chance you're, winning the Super Bowl at all. Unless Mike White can, get back to his Chicago Bears self, his Cincinnati Bengals self, which isn't gonna happen. He has a 400-yard performance once a year, and then he goes back, acts like a backup quarterback, and comes back down to earth. And I don't think Mike White's gonna go out and have this amazing performance in the playoffs. And I just don't, want to see this team in the playoffs, because that's just not gonna go down well. The Stephens can make it interesting, but it's not going to be great. NCV Man Collins, I heard the Jets have the longest playoff drought among all professional sports team, hockey, MLB, etc. Sacramento Kings of the NBA are tied, but it looked like they're going to make the playoffs this year. Yeah, I was about to say the Kings. I thought had the longest drought, but
that's what I thought too. Yeah, it's 2010 for us. So
yeah,
is it 2010 for real
for the Jets?
It's 12 years.
12 years. Wow,
might have been 11. Well,
I didn't even realize that it was that long, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I don't anticipate either one of us, like you said, we don't have neither one of us has the quarterback for it. Right. You know what I'm saying? As much as we want to say, oh, well, nobody saw Cincinnati making it to the Super Bowl, none of us has a Joe Burrow to pull off something like that. You know what I'm saying? And then, like I mentioned last night on Gino's show, like I don't want them to make it and then try to push Tua to play because it's a playoff game, and then God forbid something happen to that kid. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a catch-22. I mean, you always want your team to make the playoffs because you never know, but at the same time, like it can open up a whole other can of worms, and it could just wind up being disastrous. But I mean, I'm never gonna hope for my team to not make the playoffs. So I mean, I don't care if they back in or whatever, but that's the one thing I worry about is, are they gonna try to get Tua to play? I think they should just shut him down, but so we're definitely not making a run with Teddy or Skyler or Mike Glennon. So you know what I'm saying, but
yeah,
at least you get to see your team for another week. But do you want to see your team get absolutely destroyed? You know what I'm saying? That's the thing.
So here's the way I'm looking at it, and I totally agree with you, Johnny. Everything you've said about what you said about your team with the quarterback situation. For me, I just don't want to see the hate anymore. Like, we know what this team is, the Jets. I'm talking about the Jets. We know what this team is. I'm sick and tired of seeing the hate, and we're calling for players, calling for coaches. It's just going to make our team worse. It's just going to make the situation worse. I understand that you got a job to do. I get that. I get that you got to play the full season and somehow make the playoffs. I get that. But I'm all about it's just going to make it worse if we lose. It's just everyone's gonna toss around all kinds of stuff. And it's like, just end it. Let's start. Let's start fresh.
Because now
start fresh.
Now it's like if you lose this game now it's like, wow, they gave you an extra opportunity to make it.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
I mean,
exactly what I'm talking about.
Dude, there's that portion of in every fan base, bro. Every fan base has that portion of just they're the yeah, but guys, no matter what happens, but this and but that. Your team can make it to the AFC title game, but they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be there's always that little cluster of fan base, fans in every fan base. So you know what I'm saying? Just whatever is gonna make you feel good about the team. That's that's what I tell most Dolphin fans to just focus on, man. Just enjoy what's in front of you and what happens, and you know.
Yeah, enjoy the ride. Enjoy the
Right,
ride.
absolutely.
Who knows if we win this game and go to the playoffs, and for somehow we could pull the St. Louis Cardinals or Red Sox and just go to the. You never
the thing
know.
is that at least you
Hot team
have
at the right
least you
time.
have healthy guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Somewhat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We don't really know what's up with Mike White, but at least he's
Yeah.
fairly healthy, and he's shown that he can have a couple hot games. So you never know. You might go into into Jacksonville. Well, you're not going to get the 5 seed, but you may get lucky, go into Buffalo or Cincinnati or something, and pull out, or at least make it interesting. You know what I'm saying? You never know if Zach winds up getting the start, he may just go nuts, you know what I'm saying, for a game or two. And then, you know what I'm saying, you wind up looking back and saying, wow, we won a playoff game. So, that's not bad. So, I mean, that's why I say, you can't, just like, you can't win the lottery if you don't play some numbers. So, you know what I'm saying? You can't win a playoff game if you don't make it to the playoffs. So you got to take it whenever you come, especially with our teams, bro, and the droughts that our teams have had. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We can't start getting picky about how we make the playoffs, man. Just make it.
Right. And
right. I get that too. Though. No matter what you do, no matter how you get there, just get there. I get that too. Right. But I'm Switzerland. I'm middle ground. I am middle ground. Or I completely check out, or I go all in. My wife said 2023, your goal is to be middle ground. I can't do that. I can't do that.
I don't blame you on that one.
And it's just like, whenever I saw they had the 8th seed in the playoffs, might be there, I was excited because
Honey, I hope you heard that.
Bro, they hear everything they want to hear, bro. They hear everything they want to hear, bro.
I know. Go on, Jude. What are you saying?
But yeah, whenever I saw, the 8th seed in the playoffs could potentially be a thing, I was excited because the Jets could potentially, if we win this game, have a
7-4
the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. But then it's like, at the same time, do I really want to watch this New York Jets team in the playoffs for another week? Because, I know I'm going to lose. I know this offense isn't going to make a deep run or anything. But, just to see us in the playoffs would be happy. But then, I know I saw someone earlier on Twitter, they said if the Jets would make it into the playoffs, it would feel like a bubble ring or, a 2020 thing where, it just felt like a defunct season. I get all this playoff merch and like all this playoff stuff, and it's like Jets made the playoffs 2022, but then there's the asterisk there. It's like
I hear you on that, Jude. But especially like you mentioned, you haven't even seen a playoff. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. If you make it to the playoffs and you win a game, like I said, there's gonna be that cluster of fans that's gonna be like, yeah, but they had to make an 8th seed for you to make it. Those are just miserable people that are just nothing's ever gonna make them happy. Right. If you make it into the playoffs and you guys compete with that team and make it a good game, or if you happen to win that game, I mean, can you imagine how happy and excited you're gonna be, Jude, if you know what I'm saying, that you got to witness that? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by, you know what I'm saying, just
right. There's always a chance.
There's always a chance, man. Especially
an incredible run.
The thing that you guys got is like your defense is that good. To be quite honest, you know what I'm saying? Your defense is good enough to win a game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And running game and defense travels. You know what I'm saying? So somebody can get hot. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, the last playoff game we won in 2001 was Lamar Smith, a running back who wasn't like the greatest running back, but he had like 200 yards or something, and that's why we, barely won that playoff game or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you never know what could happen. You know what I'm saying? You got some good young backs there. The defense gets shut down, the other team get a couple turnovers, special teams, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, you know what I'm saying? You guys have that. We don't have that type of defense where the defense is going to ride us to a couple wins. You know what I'm saying? That's just not our defense this year. There's just too many injuries in the secondary. So, you know what I'm saying? At least you guys can hang your hat on that. You know what I'm saying? That your D can, you know what I'm saying, possibly win a game for you.
And, this season overall, I wouldn't feel like was a disappointment. And if we could potentially say, we got eliminated, but then we got uneliminated and made the playoffs, that's just a great thing to hang your hat on to end the season. And, you never know. Maybe we could have Ty Johnson get 20 carries, rush for 200 yards, and carry the New York Jets to win after a strong performance from our defense.
Right. You
Not
never know,
Johnson's
bro.
not
I know.
gonna do that, but
I see your
anything
face,
can
Jet,
happen.
but you never know.
I know.
Bro.
Oh, trust me, I'm the preacher of you never know. Lately, I just haven't been giving a shit. So it's just I get it. I get it. Liam,
feel you, bro.
see my co-host Liam, he's always extreme. And he says he's been doing good lately, which yeah. But me, I'm you, Johnny. I am you. So I get it.
All right.
We got NCV Man commenting again. He says, "What is one player you are most disappointed with this year, and one player you are most surprised, or one player surprised you the most in a positive way this season?" So of course, the Jets related. Johnny Cruz, if you want to go out and talk about a Jets player that kind of surprised you this season, most definitely chip in your opinion.
Wow, that's a. I mean, honestly, I gotta go with Zach. You know what I'm saying? Like I spoke to Dan. Shout out Dan Harris. You know what I'm saying?
Love that.
I spoke to Dan a lot in the beginning of the season, to where he didn't expect a lot from the team, and I didn't expect you guys. I mean, I thought you guys would finish third in the division. The Patriots would be last. But my whole thing was, the record doesn't matter as long as at the end of the season, all right, Zach is our guy. You know what I'm saying? I actually think that he's got some good traits. I you got to question what's going on between his ears. That's where it seems to be the problem, because the arm talent is there. He can move around. He's got some, he's got some wiggle in him that he can get out of the pocket and stuff like that and make some plays. So it's just a matter of, it seems like the routine play is what he has an issue with. So that's, to me, that's studying, that's making sure that your technique and your fundamentals are down, your footwork and stuff like that. So I'm a little disappointed in him. I thought he was actually going to play well this season. As far as the positive is, I mean, can you have asked for anything better than Sauce, bro? You know what I'm saying? I know he's the number 4 pick. So you have expectations as it is, but I mean, the kid came in the league and is shutting people down. You know what I'm saying? So I thought he was going to be good. I didn't think he was going to be this good this fast. So that's a little surprising there. So props to you guys on that pick. Like I told Italy yesterday, you guys hit on all 4 of those picks. You know what I'm saying? Breece Hall, it's unfortunate, the kid with his knee. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he's straight for next season. But he wasn't just a good running back. You could tell there was something there. You know what I'm saying? Like he had some it to him. So if he could come back healthy off that injury, he's a good player. Garrett Wilson looks like he's going to be a good player. And then obviously Sauce, and then JJ on the defensive side. I mean, you guys, I'm a big Joe Douglas fan. As much as Dolphins may hate to hear it, but I gotta call it the way I see it. You know what I'm saying? So I like what Joe Douglas has done for your team. So I would go with Zach being my biggest disappointment, because I expected a little bit more from him. But apparently he's more concerned with those Cougars out there than playing football. And then how good Sauce wound up being in his first season was a little surprising. Like I thought he'd be good, but not not top 5, top 7 corner in the league. I mean, he could he could potentially battle for all pro at corner. Yeah, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? As a rookie, that's crazy.
Yeah. Nice. I like that. For me, I knew Sauce was going to be a Pro Bowler, everything immediately. I've been calling it all year. I knew Sauce was going to do this immediately, along with Reed, because Reed has been getting the best out of his partners with Seattle and the 49ers. So this didn't shock me one bit. Breece Hall, this didn't shock me one bit. But I'm going to go 2 players has been no, you know what? I'm going to go a whole section that's been the most disappointing, except DJ Reed, is all the people we picked up off free agency. I'm going to put all of them in one link. They have been very disappointing. All of them except DJ Reed and Nate Herbig off waivers. So that's been most disappointing for me. I saw Zach Wilson. I already knew that was going to happen. But the player, Johnny, I know he laughs. He already knows how I feel about that. And then the player that's been most surprising, I think the player that's been most surprising to me in a good way is Quinnen Williams. I'm gonna be Quinnen Williams has not been the best. Like this is the first year that I've actually seen him be the man, that first round pick, that Alabama Crimson Tide royalty first time I've seen him actually ball out. So I had all the confidence in him, but I also had like that little okay, I
That
don't
little
know, because he hasn't been
hesitation.
showing
Right.
it. He hasn't
Right.
been showing it all this contract. So I'm surprised in a good way, but I did have a little bit of doubts. What do you think, Jude?
Well, for most disappointing, I mean, it's the generic answer, but I mean, Zach Wilson, of course. I mean, I love Zach Wilson. I had this little figurine of Zach Wilson. I had a little Funko Gold of him. That came out. I was like, let's go. Got it to Zach. I had a whole bobblehead of him getting drafted. Had the jersey, and I had my little Zach Wilson headband. I was a Zach Wilson fanboy. Next thing you know, kind of disappointing rookie season, but had a subpar supporting cast. Got injured midway, looked better after the injury, was thinking he was going to come out this year and look like just a solid quarterback with, Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore entering the second season. He's getting a healthy Corey Davis. He's getting Garrett Wilson, Ohio State first-round receiver. And, sure, maybe the StatCast wasn't as good as we thought it was going to be, but Zach Wilson wasn't as good as we thought he was going to be as well. I mean, the dude just wasn't good this season for the New York Jets. I mean, he just wasn't. And, whenever we got him back in week 4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, he looked good.
Yeah.
He did throw 2 interceptions, but that fourth quarter he had was excellent. Led a comeback drive, made all the perfect throws. I think he was like 10 of 12 for like 130-something yards, touchdown in that fourth quarter. He was fantastic. And, against the Dolphins, in week 5, he was 14 for 21, made 210 yards, and we didn't really need to rely on him that much because Breece Hall just dominated that game.
Yep.
And then, the next week against the Packers, run game dominated once again, and then we lost Breece Hall, and then we saw what Zach Wilson was. Against the Broncos, he was awful. Without Breece Hall, he looked like a lost kid out there. And then the next week against the Patriots, those are 3 interceptions. Looked solid against the Buffalo Bills, but wasn't anything special. And then the abomination came against the New England Patriots. 77 yards, 3 offensive points. The Jets averaged an inch per play in that second half. And it was just awful. The writing on the walls just appeared on Zach Wilson. It was saying, this dude is not your guy. And it's like, man, it's disappointing. Because, first off, obviously, it's disappointing every time the Jets draft a quarterback because, you know what? It hasn't worked out since Joe Namath back in 1960. It's been 60 years since the New York Jets have drafted a quarterback and it's actually worked for us. Maybe you can kind of put, Mark Sanchez in that circle because, he did lead us to 2 AFC championships, but then didn't do anything after that. So maybe he's a little thin layer right there, the little kind of quarterback that worked out for us. But it just hasn't worked. And Zach Wilson, I guess we know that he's not the guy, and we can just focus on getting an actual quarterback.
Do you know? It's been 2 seasons. Like, how many games did he play? 20, 21 games total? Like, do you really know that's it? Like he's definitely not that dude. You don't think? Because Buffalo Bill fans and everybody and their mother would say, "Yo, Josh Allen is garbage after his second season."
That's true.
Yeah, and I get
all
that.
of a sudden it clicked. You got him a stud wide receiver in Stephon Diggs, and but he put in the work. That's why I was talking about the whole between the ears thing. Josh Allen put in that work to get better. You know what I'm saying? Now, is Zach gonna be committed enough to put in that work? Or is it too late because he's lost the locker room and the whole New York? New York ain't for everybody, bro. That's another reason why Sauce, Sauce is a perfect fit for New York with the swag and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Zach,
Garrett Wilson, all
right. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So maybe, maybe another season. We talked about it yesterday. You ain't getting rid of him. You ain't getting rid of him. You can't.
No, there's no way.
There's
no way.
The dead cap is crazy.
I think. Yeah. Like I don't know. I think.
Okay, listen.
Quarterbacks need a little. Some quarterbacks develop differently than others, man. You know
I
what I'm
agree.
So,
Johnny, me and you are on the same level with this. I've always said third year. But you know what? I never liked him, so I'm getting fed up. But here's the thing, though.
You're being
right.
honest.
You're
man.
right,
Honest.
Josh Allen. You were 100% right. Look at Geno Smith now. Look at Sam Darnold. They're doing good now. Yeah, it took Geno 6 years. I get it, but I understand though. I understand they need that third year. He hasn't played. I think, in my personal opinion, and I am calling out my team, they didn't handle the Zach Wilson thing correctly. They
That's
didn't give him the
facts.
time. They didn't give him the time. They didn't let him sit. New York wanted a quarterback so badly that they just threw him in there. Yes, did he make some good strides here? Did he make some good strides here? Did he go on his USA tour? Yes, he did all the right things. But, dude, I mean, this doesn't surprise me the way that things are going right now for him. He needed that time. And you're right. The third year, is he going to put in that work? I think he's going to put in that work, but I think Zach Wilson is going to be a good quarterback in this league, but it's not going to be with the Jets. I think they're going to – I honestly think he's going to go to somewhere else, and they're going to bring in a specific quarterback coach, and they're going to help him. Or if the Jets bring in Frank Wright or someone else, or, your coach, something like that, who knows if he gets fired, bring in someone like that and maybe help the kid. I don't know.
Right.
But, people like that kind of project. Right. It didn't work out with Matt Rule, so it's working out with this other guy for Sam Darnold. And, I mean, Pete Carroll loved Geno Smith. So and like you said, it's very hard to play in New York. It always is. That's why it's never worked out with quarterbacks in New York in the last decade. So I get it. I get what you're saying. The third year. Right.
And, on top of, what you said about, the New York Jets doing the Zach Wilson situation wrong, our own offensive coordinator came out in his press conference and said exactly that. He's like, we should have signed a veteran and, just let Zach Wilson sit for some time and then put him in whenever he's ready.
Right.
The New York Jets, they just put him in there, and it's most likely, I'm saying most likely, but it's like 99% sure because the media, New York fans not wanting the New York Jets to sit Zach Wilson because while, all the beat reporters now are like, yeah, I'm thinking of it now, the New York Jets should have done this from the get-go, but like if the New York Jets would have not started Zach Wilson, the media headlines that would have came out would have been like, New York Jets first-round pick quarterback isn't who they thought he would be. He's already a disappointment. The Jets messed up on another quarterback, and next thing you know, that gets into Zach Wilson's head, and whenever he finally comes in, the pressure's all on him, even more than like the pressure that would have been on him week one. So it's just New York is such a tough place to be in. If he was to like some place like Washington, of course that's a bad example because Washington's bad with QBs. But like
I was like, wait, where are you going?
Like with Tennessee, Jacksonville, anything like that. I feel you on that. I mean that's a scary thought if you really believe that the organization. I mean, I know owners because we got a knucklehead, and our owners are knucklehead as well. So. You know what I'm saying? But I would hope that there wasn't that pressure to play him because of the media and the fan base. But I get it though. I get it. Yeah. I never understood the Joe Flacco being his backup. I mean, you definitely want a veteran, but you would want somebody with similar attributes to the quarterback that's starting. You know what I mean? So that way it's easier for him to kind of guide him through it or whatever. And if you don't have to completely change your game plan if there's an injury because there's similar styles. But you got a young kid that can move around with a cannon, and then you got a statue in Joe Flacco. So I never understood that. That was something that frustrated me with the Dolphins did that too. So it's just, I mean, I get it, but like I said, the kid's got ability there. I mean, I know Italy, you've never been a fan of his. So I mean, you just don't feel like he's gonna be the guy for the team, but I just worry more about his mental. Like I think I think that's where he's not going to succeed in New York because just mentally,
I agree.
He ain't going to be able to deal. You know what I'm saying? And even if he does start, let's say he wins the job next season, like, is he going to be able to deal with the first criticism if he has a bad game? You know what I mean? That's always going to be a question, and that's never a good thing. That's why Baker Mayfield, they wound up having to get rid of him in Cleveland, and that's Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't handle that pressure. You know what I'm saying? So New York is a totally different animal. I get it. Of course, being a Yankee fan, it's a different animal playing in New York, man. For real, you got to have some thick skin.
Exactly. And Zach Wilson just doesn't have that thick skin. I mean, he was like, yeah, the Jets fans should have booed. Talking about the Thursday night comments he made after the game. He's like, the Jets fans were booing that entire game. You watched the game, you heard him the entire time.
They're gonna boo anyway.
Right. They're going to boo
It
anyone.
didn't even matter.
They're going to boo anyone. But
Right.
Zach Wilson was like, yeah, they should have booed. We weren't playing up to the standards and whatnot. But, like, at the same time, he also said himself, he just doesn't have the confidence. And it's just like, you're a New York quarterback and you don't have the confidence.
Right.
Okay, 2 and 2 is
Right.
equaling 5 here.
Yeah,
it
you
just doesn't add up.
you can't admit that, bro. You
Yeah.
can't admit that, bro. That's one thing you cannot admit. And I mean, the game is a lot of it is. I mean, confidence goes a long way in any sport. You know what I'm saying? If you're feeling good and you're confident in your ability, you're gonna play better. But yeah, don't say you have. Yeah, you don't tell the media you have no confidence, man. Nah, that's
that's
just
a
asking for it,
article
bro.
made and waiting to
Right,
happen.
man. That's just
That's
like
the front
I said,
page.
yeah, absolutely. In New York, absolutely, bro. I get it.
And then NCZ man commenting his thoughts on Zach Wilson. He says, I really felt like Zach Wilson will be mediocre at best. So not too disappointing. You definitely been preaching that, ever since we got Zach Wilson. But he says Michael Carter was not existing this year. And I'm guessing he's talking about another disappointment. He really surprised me. He could have been, the man once Brees got hurt. And I was feeling this about Michael Carter too. He's another disappointment for me as well. I made a video after Brees Hall got hurt. Everyone's just like, let's make a trade for Kareem Hunt or James Robinson. I said, the New York Jets have their guy, Michael Carter. I mean, I had a lot of Michael Carter faith. I got myself a signed jersey of Michael Carter. And then next thing once Brees Hall's out of things, Michael Carter, he still isn't the leading rusher on the team. And Brees Hall's been out since week 7. It's been like 10 weeks since Brees Hall hasn't played a football game, and he's still the leading rusher on the team. We did acquire James Robinson.
That's
Obviously, that
wild.
was a bad deal. But like Michael Carter, everyone was just expecting him to step up big time, and he just didn't. Like, he's been completely, you put it perfectly, NCV man, non-existent for the New York Jets this season. And Michael Carter's just not built for that starting running back role.
I was gonna say I actually like Michael Carter. I'm a Michael Carter fan.
Me too.
He's not a number one. He's not a workhorse. There aren't many of those in the league, period. A guy that's gonna carry it 25 plus times. There aren't a lot of those guys. There aren't a lot of Derrick Henrys out there. Michael Carter is more of the change of pace type. That's why him and Brees was a perfect combo right there. And I actually thought that the Robinson from Jack, I thought that was like, I was a little jealous of that trade. I was like, wow, they got him for what, like a bag of chips and a couple footballs. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much.
So it was crazy.
And we're not even playing them.
Right. That's the craziest part. So no, I never expected Michael Carter to like carry the load that way, but wow, that's a crazy stat that Brees Hall is still the leading rusher. And he only played 6 or 7 games. That's wild, bro.
Right. And Carter, he's just been so bad for the Jets this season. I think his yards per carry is something like 3.8, 3.6. Like, it's just ugly. It's ugly to see. And, he definitely was a big disappointment. I don't even think I've got the player that surprised me the most this season. We spent a good 20 minutes talking about Zach Wilson. But for a player that most surprised me, I would kind of say Quentin Williams as well, simply because the dude, he wasn't horrible for the New York Jets, his first 3 seasons on the team, but he wasn't who he thought he was. I was still, I was a big believer in Quentin Williams just because the dude, you look at all these advanced statistics and everything. Quentin Williams is like top 5 in all of that. It's just he never really had a bunch of help on the defensive line to, kind of help him out. And, towards the middle of the season, when Quentin Williams putting up all these amazing stats, he was just balling out because he had all this edge help. And then whenever Carl Lawson, John Franklin Myers, and, everyone just kind of started to slow down a little bit, then, Quentin Williams is starting to get double teamed more, and he hasn't been effective. But Quentin Williams is still a dog. 12 sacks, most likely going to be an all-pro. I mean, the dude's a beast, and we finally know that he's, our guy on the defensive line. He's our Quentin Williams, or not our Quentin Williams, our Chris Jones, our Aaron Donald. Like, Quentin Williams is that dude in this season. He kind of finally came out of his shell and said, you know what, I'm that guy. But, if you guys have anything else y'all want to talk about, I think that's it for today's show.
I'm good, man. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Prediction.
I mean, I think we talked. I think I said it's like 2017. I mean, if we manage to score 20 points, like I don't know who the quarterback is.
We're scoring 17.
That's what I'm saying. it might be 17-14. It might be 17-13, something like that.
Right.
I think it's going to come down to turnovers, to be quite honest.
Field goals. Yeah.
If you guys can get us to turn the ball over, I mean that's been our Achilles heel all season. If we don't turn the ball over, we don't lose the game. So you know what I'm saying? If we turn the ball over, we clearly don't win the game. And you know what I'm saying, we haven't won a game all season without Tua. So it's not looking too good. But like I said, I'll say something like 19-14, 20-17, something like that. It'll be a close game. Hopefully our defense steps up to the challenge and at least keeps it competitive. So we'll see what happens.
What you feeling, Jet?
2010 Dolphins. I think it's going to be focused on turnovers, like you just said, and field goals. I think there's going to be a rushing touchdown as well for both teams, and I just don't see the wide receiver and tight end game be good. CJ Uzomah's been playing pretty good as well. Conklin a little bit. I know they've been having good wide receivers lately with Waddle just coming alive, Hill coming alive, but I still think that the Dolphins are going to win.
And I'm in the same boat with both of y'all. I feel like Miami does get the dub in this game. But I do think it's going to be a very boring game to watch simply because of who's going to be playing quarterback. 13-9. See Miami getting this dub. I mean, how's an offense with Tyreek Hill not going to score a touchdown in a game? So, and last time the New York Jets
I hope you're right, bro. I hope you're right.
And, last time the Jets played the Dolphins, Raheem Mostert had a nice game. Our run defense hasn't been the best the past 2 weeks. I think we've allowed, but we have allowed over 145 yards in back-to-back weeks. So I'm just not really feeling. I feel like Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson are going to just dominate this game, put up over 120 rushing yards combined. Get Miami to 13 points, and the defense is definitely going to keep us in this game. With Skylar Thompson, a quarterback, and Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed are going to lock up, or Mike Glennon, whoever it's going to be, even if Teddy Bridgewater plays, he has that finger injury going on. It's just, this defense is going to give the Jets all the chances in the world to win. Even if we get a turnover, I just don't know if this Jets offense led by Joe Flacco, Mike White, Chris Streveler, whoever it's going to be, I don't know if they can just go out and score points. The past 5 weeks, obviously we're on this big losing streak, but the offense has been a big reason for that. And the defenses we played in this streak have all been bottom 10 defenses in the NFL outside of Buffalo's. Right. And then Miami, even though their defense hasn't been amazing this season, is the second best defense on paper that the New York Jets have played since the Minnesota Vikings week. And, from able to squat against Jacksonville and, Seattle and Detroit's defenses. I mean, I'm not expecting us to do anything against Miami's defense either. So I just think it's going to be a very low scoring, a very boring game. 13-9 might be, some low anticipation at the end. What's going to happen, but it's just going to be. Jets mess. Coming, he says, "Hey fellas, welcome to the stream, Jets mess." And then Izzy Goodman says, "The Jets are famous for making third stringers look like Brady." 32-6 Benz. Wow, 32. Whoa, okay.
I mean, of course, I would take that, but bro, they ain't no way we scoring 32 points on this defense.
There's no way. There's no way. Yeah,
no way.
It's going to be close. The Jets make it close all the time.
Right.
So, good stuff.
I think the first 1 to 20 wins the game, bro.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Facts.
But that's going to be the end of today's stream. If you guys, I know you guys have some socials to promote, so if you want to go ahead and do that, we'll start off with you, Yankee Finn. Got anything to promote?
I'm right there. That's it on Twitter at the Yankee Finn. I'll be back live in about 35 minutes on the Botkins Show with Nick Botkins. He moved his weekly preview show from Wednesdays to Thursdays because he's got some kids that play some ball, so he's got to do family stuff on Wednesday, so he moved that to Thursday. So I'll be back in about a half hour or so to do that, and then tomorrow I'll be previewing the Jets Dolphins game on Let's Talk Sports, doing the Let's Talk Miami Dolphins, and then Sunday morning, all day Sunday, I'll be all over Let's Talk Sports with the morning show, the the 7 o'clock pre-game of the Sunday night game, and then of course the Sunday night post-game show. So I'll be all over Let's Talk Sports. So shout out Dan Harris and Let's Talk Sports.
And then Illy Jet.
I'm everywhere. Soccer, football content. Let's Talk Sports, the NR Hour, everything NYJ, our Jets Duo show, the Take Flight Squad back there. I will be on Let's Talk Sports on Saturday night for the roundtable and for the morning show on Sunday. And I got my Italy Jet post-game show on Sunday as well. And I'm going to cook. I'm going to cook some good food. That's what I'm going to do.
There you go.
So
Nice.
Let's go Jets. Italy Jet on all social media platforms, including everything NYJ. That's me, Johnny. Always class. Always class, man.
Always fun, gentlemen. Always fun, man. Anytime, bro.
Always a great time to do a show with you, Johnny.
I appreciate that, man.
You gotta be a Dolphins fan, man. You can't be a Jets fan. We can make this.
You know what?
Nah,
And the crazy thing is that you'll say
born and raised in New York.
Born and raised in New York. One of my first memories was the Dolphin Bears game in '85. And a couple of my uncles are Jets fans, and they were talking so much trash about the Dolphins and about how great that Bears team was and that they were going to break the Dolphins' undefeated season. And Dan Marino lit them up. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I remember is that Dolphin just, making my uncles all pissed off. So, you know what I'm saying? I love it. Besides the Yankees, which I had no choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have no choice. A Puerto Rican born in the Bronx, you're a Yankee fan. You know what I'm saying? There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But as far as football, you know what I'm saying? I kind of went against everybody else because it's either Jets or Giants, obviously. And I played quarterback growing up too, so I was a Dan Marino fan. So
I get that.
That's it. And I've been suffering ever since he retired, bro.
Hey, man. Let me as a Jets fan in Louisiana, not to be a fan of the Saints is like a sin down here. So I feel you, man.
Same here with the Rams. Greatest show on turf, so I get it. Especially when I work for the
heart wants what the heart wants, man.
Exactly.
Even if it's just getting beat up every year, man. It is what it is.
This season being no different. But you gotta stick with your team. But if you guys want to check me out, @Jude_Jets on all social media platforms. It supports my channel as well. So if you guys want to check out my videos, all I gotta do is scroll down a little bit. But once again, thank you for joining us today, Johnny Cruz.
Absolutely.
Pleasure to have you. Always a fun show. And then that's gonna do it for today's show. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace.